And then I go here. Okay. And now we go here. Okay, let's try this once more and see if this is going to work. Because if not, I don't know what I'm going to do. So if you guys can hear this, I apologize for the multiple attempts, and so I'm hoping this is the last time. I'm hoping that I have this fixed, and if I do, please let me know. Hoping this is the last time. I And so please let me know. And hope you guys are doing good. Happy Monday. And so I just want to talk about some things and figure out, kind of what this all looks like for tomorrow and things that I want to be aware of. And so if you guys are seeing this, please let me know. This is not the ideal way that I wanted to do this, so it's something I'm still trying to figure out how I put this thing together. And looks like I have one person tuning in. So if can hear this, please let me know. I apologize for the technical difficulties that I've had in the past on this, earlier today. So if you guys are seeing this, please let me know. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. Obviously, Facebook has made things challenging for me. It's working. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jason. So I'm back, which is great because I was able to kind of, weave things together, and I'm able to use my older platform, which is better. And I was able to trick Facebook. And so if you guys are seeing this, please let me know. Thank you for tuning in. But there's some things I want to touch base about tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to be in the Oregon State Appellate Court. It's in Salem. It's actually right next to the Capitol building, and so there's going to be a hearing tomorrow. Good, thank you, Billy. I appreciate it. It means a lot, and I've just the way Facebook has done things in the past, they've changed my ability to use this streaming platform that I used previously, which I love, and it's very user friendly. It makes it so I can, broadcast onto YouTube at the same time. And so with this, they changed it, and so I have to figure out a way in the back door to be able to broadcast. And so I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you guys are having a good day. So for tomorrow, there's a hearing. It's going to start at 1:30. And this is going to be in the Oregon State Court of Appeals. And so what this is this is going to go, there's a 3-panel judge. And I posted the other day, the judges, I would imagine, are not going to be our friends. And so I don't want to, put a lot of hope in this situation, but I trust in Tony, and I know he's going to do a good job. A couple things that we have working in our favor is obviously the Harney County ruling. Okay, that's a great ruling. It talks a lot about the historic applications of Article 1, Section 22nd of the Oregon Constitution. This is a good thing for us. And so, that's what the state of Oregon's trying to rebuke, is the fact that Measure 114 is not a violation, which clearly the judge in Harney County, I call him the Saint Savior of Measure 114, the Judge Ratio, he thought otherwise. And so that's why we're going to the Oregon State Appellate Court. And it's a 3-judge panel. Our side gets 15 minutes to basically argue and introduce our side, and then the state of Oregon is going to have the same amount of time, and then they would open it up for any kind of questioning. Okay. And so that's a good thing, I think, for us. I think that it's important to note that, um, you know, it's not going to be a friendly court, and we have to be aware of that and understand that this is kind of the way it's going to go forward. And what we're looking at is, you know depending on what happens at that court is what the future of Measure 114 looks like for all of us. And I'm hoping that this thing does not go into effect, and there's a good chance that it will not, nothing will come out and there will be no changes, knock on wood, coming out of this hearing. This will just basically put it on a path to the Oregon State Supreme Court. One thing to think about the Oregon State Supreme Court is they still have to take up the case. They still have to agree to hear this case, and which this is a pretty high profile case. There's a lot of money involved. I don't see them not hearing this case. There's a couple different caveats here. Is they could refer it, they could remand it and refer it back to Harney County, and they could either make us do a whole new trial, which I would say probably is unlikely, or they could make Judge Ratio make a different decision. And maybe their interpretation of Article 1, Section 27 is opposite of his. And so, he might have to make that change there. And, so it could be a timeline. There could be a timeline. It could be, a week or so for the ruling to come out of the appellate court, so we know what their decision was. It could be 90 to 180 days for us to know if this is going to be accepted at the Oregon State Supreme Court level. It could take, next year, for us to go back and actually have another trial. There's a lot of things that are up in the air that I don't know. I just want to kind of put people at ease. There's been a lot of people joining the group because there's a lot of people that are concerned about, what this looks like for them and their families. And I think that's very valid. And I respect that. And I appreciate people are coming to the group for information. And I want to be able to present the information in a way that it makes sense to them, but also, if they're in a panic, I can kind of talk them off the ledge. Cause I feel personally in my own little sphere here inside my home, like I don't see anything that's so scary that I'd rush out and go buy a firearm. There's nothing in here that's, putting me in a position where I'm starting to panic. So, the best thing I can do for you is just remain calm. I know it's uneasy. It's not something that, it's easy for any of us to do. Especially because there's all this uncertainty. And, the one thing that I think in the short term that we should be focusing on, and I try to think about in my own life, is I try to think about attainable goals, right? So attainable goals, things that I can control in my sphere, right? So stuff I can control is going to work, doing the stuff that I'm doing, making sure that I'm a good person, a good person that people can count on. And so that's all of us, that's things that we should be all, taking care of our families, taking care of the dogs. That's kind of something that we can focus on. That's something that we can control. The stuff that's happening in court, we cannot control. And so it's not worth getting stressed out about. I know it's something that we're all really impassioned about. That's why you're here. And I appreciate you guys being here. But at the end of the day, the one thing that we can control out of all of this that's happening is we can vote. And so I did that today. I put a post in there, kind of talking it, and I wanted people to kind of understand that. And I don't know if I hit the mark or missed the mark in this group, because that the post I did this morning about the vote and civics and our civic duty was talking about to the people that don't understand the way our process works, the people that are easily manipulated by the government, the media, the big tech, and so when I'm talking about a constitutional republic, that's what we have. Okay. We have a constitutional republic if we can keep it, and we have to keep it by exercising our civic duty, by making sure we show up and vote. And so, that's where, that's one thing that I can control. I can control me getting off the couch, doing a little bit of research, filling out my ballot, and then taking it down there and dropping it in the drop box at the actual Lane County election office. I did it there, got a sticker, and so I did my part. And so I guess what I'm trying to impress upon you guys is the importance of this. The reason I say that is obviously Oregon is not Oregon's not going to win the presidency. But one thing we should be thinking about here, and this is big picture stuff, is we do have an attorney general that's running for office. Okay. If you haven't voted already, his name is Will Lathrop. I haven't spoken with him, but he is our dog in the fight. Okay. The other guy is going to be, I believe, is Daniel. He's already he's already a senator, and he's anti-gun. He's going to be a continuation of Attorney General Rosenbaum, and so that's where one thing we have. These are some achievable goals for us. We can win the AG office. We can also win our local reps if we just show up and vote. And we got to take our friends. We got to take our family. We got to make sure that we're all seeing the importance of this. Because if we do not, let's say we do not get that attorney general, we're going to be fighting this for another 2 to 4 years. Okay. And so that's what's really, really important is while we don't have control tomorrow in the courtroom, we have control at the ballot box. And so that's something that was on my heart that I wanted to talk to you about. And I know it's, people feel that their ballots don't count and their voices aren't heard. I totally understand. I get it. But if enough of us show up together, we're going to make a difference. And that's what we're trying to do. And so, obviously tomorrow we have a lot going on. What I'm going to do tomorrow is I will broadcast it here into the group, obviously if my tech allows me to do so. So that's why I did this video today is I wanted to talk about some things, but also kind of prepare for tomorrow because I want to be able to get in, stream it here. We all watch it together. We all support Tony tomorrow when he's going to do his good fight on our behalf. And I want to make sure there was no hiccups. And because your time's valuable. Everybody's time's valuable. And I respect that. I want to be respectful of your time, also my time as well. And so that's kind of something that I wanted to talk about. And so, this is kind of a dress rehearsal for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I don't anticipate any changes to Measure 114. We will not have the injunction be ripped out from under us tomorrow. It's probably a 90%, 95% chance of that not happening. So we can take a deep breath. We can reorganize, refocus, and look at the next chapter. The next chapter is obviously going to be fundraising. And so that's what's really important we do is we fundraise. And I can put links in here where there's a Give, Send, Go that goes directly to Tony and his firm to help with this process. And they're deeply in the red. And so that's something where if I'm looking at, and I have limited resources and I'm thinking big picture, I'm looking at 5, 10, 20 years down the road, my kids going to be able to buy a firearm? And this is the way I would operate and I would control my budget is I would forego buying another firearm just because to buy a firearm right now. And I would put that money towards, or a percentage of that money towards the legal fight. And that's all I'm trying to understand and get people to understand is like $5, $10, $20. If we all put it together, it comes out to a lot, and that's what's going to help us. And that's the only way we're going to save this stuff. And I look at this as a generational fight. If we do not hold this line here, there's going to be nothing left for our children. Okay. And so it's our turn to hold that line, stand in that fire to make sure that they can have these freedoms that we all take for granted right now without a permit to purchase. So, I'm going to start looking at my comments. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I wanted to just kind of, Jeremy, 100%. I get the frustration, and I that's why I do some of these videos and I put certain, like, believe it or not, I've learned a lot about you guys, the gun owners, my people in this group, just from running the group. Like I know when people are starting to freak out. I know when people are saying stuff that they are emotional, right? Because of they're using the smaller parts of their brain, right? I totally understand. And I can see it in comments. I can see it in what's submitted for approval in the group. So I have a pretty good tone and a good, I feel that I have a pretty good pulse on what you guys, what your triggers are. And I totally get it. And that's why, some of the stuff that I've been putting in as of late is I've been trying to put in stuff that's lighter, like stuff that's not heavy. And I know there's like we're getting bombarded. I've gotten literally 700 texts or 700 emails from Kamala Harris since the debate. I get literally text messages 10 to 20 times a day from quote unquote candidates asking me for their support. And I'm over it. I want to get through November 5th. I want to get through tomorrow, and I want to focus on some things that are positive. And that's where, like, I get the frustration, and I'm here with you, and I see it, and I empathize with it. I guess that's where I'm going with this. Is like I see it, and I know. Like I know when I put content in the group, I know what's going to resonate, and I know stuff that's going to backfire on me. And sometimes I put stuff into the group, like I've made a post before about, sometimes I put something in here, you guys, so you guys can argue in the comments for days so I can get some work done. So there's some real truth to that, because that's a way for me. It's like a pressure relief, like a hot water heater has a pressure relief valve where it gets too hot, it releases the pressure before the water heater blows up. That's kind of some of the stuff that I put into the group. It's not meant to sway people either way. It's meant to be either educational or lighthearted, or some of the stuff I see, it's just, I can't believe that I even see it. So there's a couple things that I do here. And so, whatever I can do to help you guys, it helps me. And so that's why I'm kind of particular about the stuff that we bring in. There's a lot of stuff that I see, like tinfoil stuff, like I don't want to stoke any fires. I don't want to spread misinformation, and I try to be really, really mindful of the stuff that I put out and how it can affect others, I guess. So, that's kind of where I'm getting at. So, going forward, big day tomorrow. And, we just got to know that it takes all of us working together. You know, absolutely, Randy, right there. That's $1 million comment. This is out of our control. Our it's up here. Everything's up here. He is in control. He's going to, see us through this, okay? And he's gonna guide the tongue of our attorney Anthony Aiello tomorrow in court. He's gonna give him the wisdom that he needs to make the message resound with the judges. He's going to do his part, but that being said, he's doing his part. We have to do our part. And so that means we have to vote. We also have to make sure that we, $5, $10, $20. It's all it would take. If all of us put in $10, $20 towards that, we could blow up that Gibson Go and give him the money that he needs to continue to operate. And so I totally get it. Things are tight, but we just got to focus on our priorities. Our priorities, might not be going out and buying the fifth AR-15. It might be, putting that money towards the next generation and make sure the next generation has the ability to exercise our 2A rights, and that's by make sure we stop Measure 114, and I definitely don't want this to turn into a lecture. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. I appreciate all the support that I get from you guys. I'm trying to lead in a way that I would want to be led, I guess. And so it's been a learning experience for me as well. So we're all in this together. And I guess the greatest honor I have is the ability for me to have a microphone that I can share my knowledge, my passion, and my belief in my fellow gun owners, and I hope it resonates, and I hope it motivates, and I hope it inspires. And that's the goal. It's, it's a lot, but I'm not going to lose. Like, I refuse to lose. I'm done losing. I've given all I'm going to give, and so that's where we just have to stand firm, stand on our principles, stand on our convictions, and know that this is not over, and it won't be over tomorrow, but nothing's going to change. Okay. So we just got to be smart. And absolutely, Billy, I appreciate you. We're all in this together, and I think that, It's just we got to stay focused. We got to stay positive. Make sure we vote. Tell our friends and family to vote. And obviously make sure that we're voting. I kind of looked red all the way down the board. And so obviously there was some conservatives that are a little squishy, and I don't feel comfortable with some of them, but I still voted because they're the man in the arena and or woman in the arena, and I need to give them support. And so it's tricky because we need people that can run for office too. There's a lot that goes into this equation, and it's not something that's easy to do. So, but other than that, I hope this helped you guys. I hope it made sense. And my goal is to make sure that you guys are aware tomorrow what's happening. I had a guy earlier in the group that had no idea what Measure 114 was, and I was like, I was trying not to be rude, but it was kind of like, where have you been for the last 2 years? You know what I mean? And so I was trying to not like I was trying to give grace, but I was like pulling my hair out, which I don't have much hair left. Um, and so I took a moment as I was trying to respond is be show grace. I got to show grace, and that's where all of us we need to show grace. And just take a moment to respond. Think about it before that comment goes out. I try to do that. There's a lot of times that I'll put a comment on something and then I'll delete it before I post it because I'm thinking, how will this look? Will this comment be beneficial? Will it be helpful? Or will it cause some sort of fight? And I don't have time to fight. I'm like done fighting on social media. And I don't know about you guys. And, I just think that it's a lot easier if we can just kind of back off and just scroll on by. I learned that many years ago. Just scroll on by. We're good. Um, and I try not to get sucked into it. So just be careful. Everybody's real tense right now. We've got, just over a week until the election. And so I think it's important that, we're aware of what's happening. I'm seeing in Portland, I'm seeing statues being disabled. I'm seeing ballot boxes lit on fire. So the thing to think about all of that, that affects that. I saw the lady today, and it really touched my heart. Is this lady had to be 90 years old. She had a walker, and her time on this planet was limited, but she took the time. She crossed the street. I helped her cross the street, but she took the time to drop her ballot in the ballot box. And this lady, it would have been easy for her to just say, you know what, I'm 90 years old. I've had a good run. I'm just going to stay home this year. But I don't know who she voted for. I don't care who she voted for. It's the fact that she did 15 things to get to that ballot box. And to be honest with you, that kind of inspired. I'm trying not to get all choked up because it was pretty powerful to watch. And so, you know, um, that's all I can. If I can leave you with something, it's like if she can do it, so can you. And I guarantee what they're going to use fear, emotion. They're going to use the divisive tactics to make sure that you stay home. And you know what, how you beat them is you find any way to get to that ballot box to make your voice be heard. If that means you go to the county office, which is safer. We don't have to worry about burning ballot boxes. You go there. If you got to bring 4 or 5 people with you to feel comfortable, so you're safe, bring 4 or 5 people with you. But the thing is just get out there and make sure you do it. There's a lot of people that are counting on you, and we're counting on you. Our kids are counting on you, and so if we had an attorney general worth their salt, this measure 114 wouldn't have gone into effect. If we had a secretary of state worth their salt, we would have never even had this go on the ballot. And so that's where we have to think about how our vote truly impacts our gun rights. So I think I'm off my soapbox. I just want to leave you with that little nugget, is if that 90-year-old lady can do it, so can you. So, it's our civic duty. They say it's the cartridge box, the ballot box, and there's four boxes, the four boxes diner. There's some reality there. I don't think we're to the cartridge box, and I don't want to think like that. You know, I know there's some people that would disagree with me, but I feel that the way things are right now, they're so bad that I feel that we are going to get converts because of they're really that bad and their policies are really that bad. So that gives me some sort of hope. And so, hope's what's going to keep me going through all this stuff and making sure that I can continue to operate and do what I do and I'm still carrying a gun every day. I highly can encourage you guys, especially as things get a little bit more aggressive and more violent because, the government, the media, the celebrities, they're trying to pit one another against one another, us against one another. And it doesn't need to be that way. And so I probably just told you more than I needed to say. I like to speak from my heart. So if something's on my heart, I like to talk from it. So I'm gonna check your comments and kind of see where we're at. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. No, Jeremy, thanks for being here. And I do this for me, right? That's one thing I will say is I do this for me, and are you guys are along there with me, right? And I do the stuff that I do because my rights are important to me, and all I try to do is inspire others to get involved and show them the way to make sure that they know that their rights can be protected as well. So there's a lot that goes into it. Um, I've been doing it for many years now, and it's something that my gun was used to save my life. So I know firsthand what it's like to be disarmed and not be able to defend myself. And it was terrifying. And I will never ever relinquish that right to self-defense. And all I can do now is use my voice, my microphone to make sure that you guys know how important these rights are. And but we got to look at the big picture, right? The big picture is we have to be able to protect them and making sure that we're showing up, we're voting, we're helping out with lawsuits. We're making sure we're paying attention tomorrow what happens in court. We're praying for Tony. There's a lot of things that go into this. So I think I've babbled on enough, and I hope it all made sense. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to set up an event tomorrow. Well, I will use this technology. I will stream the hearing into the group. We can watch it together. We're gonna cheer our attorney on because he's gonna do great work for us, and hopefully we're gonna keep pushing this stuff back. You know, but in the meantime, make sure that if you can put 5, 10, $20, towards that lawsuit, please do so. Also, please vote. None of this stuff that we want to do in this state will ever come to any sort of fruition if we don't show up and vote. And so that's the biggest thing. Show up and vote. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. I'll keep you guys in the loop as anything changes. Plan on seeing me tomorrow. We're gonna have Tony. We're going to watch him just do what he does, and he's going to get that victory for us. So say a prayer. So other than that, I'm going to get off here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.